Welcome to Biblical Greek. In this lesson, we're going to learn the imperfect indicative active, where we're translating the verb as I was something or I used to something. So let's draw our paradigm, just like we did for the present indicative active. Remember, the O is a, omen, ete, usen. But this is for the imperfect indicative active. We have singular, we have plural, and then first person, second person, and then third person. Now keep in mind, unlike the present indicative active where we only added the suffix os, a, omen, ete, usen at the end of the verb, here in the imperfect we also add a prefix to the beginning of the verb, which we actually call an augment. And it is a, would be known as epsilon a. So let's go ahead and add them in first. Now comes the verb in between. And then what comes in the end? On, s, n, omen, ete, on. This is the paradigm for the imperfect indicative active. Again, it is translated as I was something or I used to something. Let's put in our luo verb, okay? So you know how luo, lues, os, a, lue, luomen, luete, luesen, luusen. So how is that going to work here? Well, same way. Nothing has changed. So, eluon, elues, eluen. Of course, that's the movable nu. It kind of drops off. Eluomen, eluete, eluon. There you have the simple breakdown. Now, as you can see, that the singular first person is pretty much the same as the third person plural. Well, how is that going to work for us? Well, context is going to help us. So because of context, this will be I was losing, or I used to lose. You were losing, or you used to lose. He, she, it was losing, or he, she, it used to lose. And then we were losing, or we used to lose. And then you all were losing, or you all used to lose. And then this, which is exactly the same, but context makes it they were losing, or they used to lose. So this is the imperfect indicative active. Now, one thing we need to be cautious about is when we have this e added to certain words. For example, alpha. You cannot have just alpha like this. So it lengthens to this, eta. So also e, it doesn't remain just like that. It lengthens to a. Also, O lengthens to omega. Okay? Or if it's ai, lengthens to this. Ei lengthens to this. When the e prefix is added, there's contraction taking place, just the way, if you remember, when we're making a future with the gutturals and the labials and the dentals, when they're added to as s, remember how they change? The xi, psi, and the sa. This is what's happening here as well when the a, okay, epsilon is added to the verb. It's augmented, prefixed. There's a contraction that takes place. I'll give you some examples of that in just a few moments. Or if it's like this, then it will become that. Or if it's alpha u, then becomes u. If it's this, then it will also become this. Sometimes it will remain this. So always be aware of this. When this changing is happening, there will be a contraction, and it will not look like this or this. It will change. Okay? Now, for example, let's look at a couple of words where the change happens. The word akuo. Akuo is to hear. Akuo is to hear. What happens when akuo is made into an imperfect indicative active? What happens when it goes from the present indicative active to imperfect indicative active? So akuo, of course, we know that is to hear. When that becomes imperfect, of course, A is attached to alpha, eku on. Eku on. Of course, we know where this on comes in the end. And so when you see this, and you wonder, what kind of word is this? I don't remember studying in a kuon. What is that? Keep in mind the contraction. A is lengthened into A when E is added to it in the imperfect indicative active. Another example would be the word egero. Egero, to raise up. Egero. What happens when you add another E to it? Remember, it lengthens, so it becomes a gay ron. Where are we getting the ron from? Remember our paradigm? Imperfect indicative active. Of course, we know that. But then we go, what is this? When we're translating, it'll be a little difficult, but keep in mind, it's because it has lengthened. And epsilon to an epsilon becomes an eta. So there you have your imperfect indicative active verb. Translation is I was loosing, or I used to lose. You were loosing, or you used to lose. He, she, it were losing, or he, she, it used to lose. We were losing, or we used to lose. You all were losing, or you all used to lose. And then finally, the form that is just like the first person singular of imperfect indicative active, which is they were losing, or they used to lose. This completes our lesson on the imperfect indicative active verbs.